Okay, good morning, New Life. My name is Yujeong Kim now. I'm married. I am a member of Swallows Home House Church, shepherded by Roger and Shinji Pak, who are leaders that have helped shape the lives of each house church member by using the perfect amount of love and admonishment to help us grow. Those of you who know the Paks know which one does more of what, but I think quite often about where I would be if it wasn't for my leaders who didn't hesitate to ask the hard questions or frequently have the necessary but uncomfortable talks with their members. So thank you, Roger and Shinji, for the countless times that you guys have spent listening, guiding, molding, and encouraging me. So this was my second time taking Living Life Bible Study. I took it again in order to support fellow house church members and in obedience to Pastor Eric, who told us to retake classes after a certain amount of time has passed. I also couldn't recall what I had learned 5 years ago in Living Life, so I thought it was a good time to retake it, and it definitely was. The Monday night class became one of the highlights of my week. It started my week off with me being physically tired, but spiritually filled. I enjoyed the fellowship with people in the class, summarizing the book of Acts, and getting answers to the questions I had. I would go to class tired after work, but found myself engaged and energized during the class. Pastor Eric was also very animated and shouted Jesus randomly to keep us alert, so that really helped. I left every Monday night surprised at how quickly 2 hours passed by. The material was so simple, yet so full of truth and power. Our goals of the class were to obtain the assurance of our salvation, develop skills in reading the Bible, and to understand and build structure in our spiritual lives and receive answers to questions regarding this life. All of those goals were accomplished, but reflecting back on this class, I realized that I learned much more than just how to live this life, but what happens when you live this life. So 5 years ago, I was a fairly new believer. I didn't blast off after being baptized. I was a slow-growing Christian where there was growth, but sometimes it was hard to see. I was persuaded into taking this class and was not aware of the homework, the length of the class, and the commitment it required. And it seems like a lot of other people were surprised too. But I grew up always doing the bare minimum, trying just enough to make it, but not any more than the minimum requirement needed. This very bare minimum act also followed me into Living Life. I purposely sat in the back behind a person so that Pastor Eric couldn't see me falling asleep or looking at my phone. I would fill in the blanks during class, work on the summarizations an hour before the class. I constantly looked at the clock, counted down the days, and calculated how much I didn't need to study in order to pass the test and the class. Looking back now, I really felt like I wasted the opportunity to grow. But despite me not putting much into the class, I still received much. After taking the class, I slowly started to grow and change. And in 5 years, after the many small changes put together, I started to see the fruit of living this Christian life. I used to say, I will never, I can't, I won't, I don't want to, and I don't need to. But slowly those words changed to I will, I can, and I would love to. I found myself going from wanting to help only those that I knew or cared for to helping everyone and anyone around me. I went from seeing my blessings as my own accomplishments to seeing them as resources given to me to help others. And as I grew in my vertical relationship with God, I found myself growing in my horizontal relationship with others. And while doing this life, I found others to share it with. More specifically, my house church members that I took the Living Life class with. They reminded me of what 5 years ago me sounded and looked like. Our hearts without God looked the same, and our hearts with God began to change. Our hearts without God used to say, I don't know if I want to go to house church, or I don't think I can commit every Friday. But that slowly became, oh, it feels weird to miss 1 week. We would say, I don't think I can share at house church, or I don't feel comfortable sharing. But that slowly became, I can't wait to share this with house church. And as these smaller things changed, the bigger things in our lives started to change as well. Our I don't want to serve became, yes, Lord, I can help. And the I don't have enough turned to, thank you, Lord, for all of our blessings. The hardships we thought we could never overcome, we overcame. The people we thought we could never forgive, we forgave. And the hurt that we thought we could never forget, we didn't forget. but it started to become our testimony. One of the ways we can see God's power is through the change in people. And though my change wasn't extremely significant, his power was still so evident in the way he created a new heart in me. Taking this class again reminded me of where I used to be, the power of God in me, through me, and the need for VIPs and others in my walk to remind me of the amazing power of God that works in the people who live according to his ways. Thank you.